So, a question that I get asked a lot by students in Comp 2 is, what's the point of this class? It's called a composition class, but I'm having to read an awful lot of literature in this class. Why? Well, guys, it has to do with the skills that we are trying to teach in this class. So, let's kind of start there. We are going to start with this basic skill of I have a data set in front of me. I need to be able to analyze this data set at a deeper level on its own terms and come up with a really interesting theory about this data set. I need to be able to figure out, unlock the secrets. What is this data set telling me that maybe isn't just on the surface? And this is something that you will do no matter what field you're going into. So let's say I'm going into nursing. My patient presents my data set. So they'll have, a temperature, they'll have a blood pressure reading, various test results, things like that, as well as their, complaints, the things that they're telling you is wrong with them. That's their data set. Okay, I have to learn how to read that. Now, surface reading, what you guys may be used to doing from, say, high school classes, for example, the who, what, when, where, the basics of, yes, this is what is on the page, that doesn't help me do anything for that patient, right? It's just the what's there. If I want to be able to tell this patient, this is what is wrong with you, this is why it's wrong with you, and this is how we can fix it, well, I have to be able to take that data set and interpret it. I have to be able to piece together different parts of the data set that may not look like they go together at first. I need to be able to kind of go below the surface, look at clues that are presented to me, and come up with theories and see how all the puzzle pieces fit together. Particularly if I can do it in a way that no one else has been able to think of, that makes me very, very valuable. Science is the same way. So if I have a problem in science, I might be able to look at just this random collection of numbers, for example, or phenomenon. But if I have this skill of being able to interpret this data set, if I can look at it and say, well, this piece of information over here and this piece of information over here don't seem like they go together at first, but once we can learn how to piece it all together, I can come up with this brilliant theory. Because that's the kind of reading that we're going to be doing. So we're going to learn how. We're going to learn how to interpret data. That's the first part. The second part is the writing component. It is a composition class. You're going to have to write papers. Sorry, you just get used to that. Which is, how do I, one, put my thoughts into a coherent piece of writing that someone else can follow? But two, how do I make it persuasive so that someone else is going to agree with me? So if I'm a nurse, I want that patient to understand, yeah, okay, that makes sense. I do need to give up smoking, or yes, I need to start doing such and such treatment plan. Maybe I'm a civil engineer. Now, as a civil engineer, I'm competing against other firms. So if a city wants to build a park, the data is what they want in the park, as well as all the data that leads me to decide, oh, the best place to put the park is in such and such. But I also have to write about it in a way that doesn't just say, yes, my plan is a good plan, but also my plan is a better plan than the one presented by all the other firms. I have to be able to use research to both prove that I am correct and show that the other people aren't correct, or that I'm more correct than they are. So these are skills that you can use in any field that you're going into. We use literature as kind of our practice for this for two reasons. One, we just have to have something. I don't want to use engineering or nursing in this class because not everybody in this class has the background to be able to do that. But you all have 10 plus years of reading experience. So this is something we all have the background to be able to do. Additionally, guys, learning to be able to kind of break apart a piece of reading is going to give you a much deeper level of appreciation and enjoyment for it. Which isn't to say that all of you are going to suddenly become voracious readers. You're probably not. But some of you will. Some of you are going to start getting an enjoyment out of this that you never had before. Some of you are going to start watching a movie, like that Knives Out example, for example. Maybe before you just kind of passively watched it, but now you're going to start watching movies like that. And you're going to be so much more into it than you ever were before. You're going to be able to really get a much deeper level of enjoyment than you ever had before. There are so many literary references in pop culture, you guys, you don't even know. Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. I was playing that game, and toward the very beginning, there is a mission that is named after a very famous stage direction in a Shakespeare play. And it was a hilarious, just little kind of Easter egg. But if you weren't familiar with literature, you completely missed it. Fallout 4 is pretty famous for the extensive literary references that it has. Most famously, there's a reference to an Edgar Allan Poe story that we're actually going to read in class. Um, Tons of pop songs are full of pop culture references. So it's just going to make your life a lot richer once you start to recognize these things. And it's also going to make you really, really good at trivia. So hopefully that answers the question of why we are studying literature in this class.